demonstrate how to use underglazes today with underglaze layering and slip trailing. When you guys look at objects in nature, this is plastic, but when you look at them, none of them are perfectly one color like red. They have other colors in them. Okay? I'm going to pass this around. It broke last hour, so be careful. It might be sharp, but it does show you what it looks like hollowed out. And I want you to look carefully because the bottom is just underglaze, and then the top has clear glaze on it, but it's not super real looking. So what we're going to do instead is a different technique. So be careful not to cut yourself, but I want you to look like what it looks like with underglaze and then with clear on top. I'm going to pass that around. So when you look at things in nature, they have more than one color in them. So this is a seed, and it has yellow and brown and black. This one is the clay version of it. So the way that we can get that is with underglazes. Underglazes can go on the bottom. If you were to just leave it white, it would look weird. Okay, so if I was to do a chili pepper and only glaze the top part, it wouldn't look real. So underglazes can go on the bottom. And then the best option is to use a spray glaze on the top, and that's how this pear was made. So the whole thing was underglazed, and then after it was fired, we used this spray glaze because you're not going to eat off of it. If you want it food safe and shiny, you have to use this. The underglazes have the green label. They are on the left. That's where they go when you're done. Sometimes they're stinky, especially the red and the orange. The red costs $40. Do not drop it. The others are like $14 a bottle, but please be careful. When you take them off the shelf, tape them off on the side. Make sure the lids are on. If you need help, let me know, and read the bottle. So what we're going to do for our first tile today is, of course, you're going to cut out your shape, and then you want to smooth the edges, and then write your name and class shape on them so you can get a tray of needle tools for your table. And you need at least 2 of these for what we're doing today. So your name and class shape. Then you can get a palette. They're over on the side there, or one of these plastic ones. And you can also share it with the people on the table. The first tile you're going to make is where you're practicing your colors. So these are the colors of a pear. So you might want to look up later on your phone what a real pear looks like. Or I have a pumpkin here, or a strawberry. So you can see all the different colors that are in that. There's green in the strawberry on the leaves, there's yellow on the leaves, there's red, pink. So you want to get those colors correct. So that test tile is what you might make your real object with. If you change your mind, that's okay, but we're testing it. So I'm going to paint it on the greenware, but like I said, you can also paint underglaze on bisqueware. So once we layer it today, we'll fire it, and then you can paint it and layer it more once it's bisque fired, like this apple. Normally when you paint, you go light to dark. And then I'll also teach you next week how to create a splatter kind of effect, which is what real fruit and vegetables and things have on them. So this one is the color of a pumpkin that a student did. So it has yellows and oranges and then brown on it. And we did get a whole bunch of underglazes. So in one of those boxes there's brown, so we'll try to get that unloaded. But you can also mix, here you go, Bella. You can mix these like paint. So if you mix the 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, you can get kind of a brown. So when you get your paint, your underglazes out, make sure that you are either sharing or use a very little amount because you're not using a lot and we don't want to waste them. So you would pour your underglazes in there. So when you get them, make sure the lid's on and shake them. They should be that consistency of melted ice cream. If they're really thick, add a teeny bit of water to it and then you can shake it up, okay? These are a little thick, but they're good to go. So I'm going for the pear color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush, and it's good to have a paper towel or an apron, and you're going to start with your lighter value first and just kind of blotch layer that on. And just try different colors. It looks kind of like an impressionist painting. By the way, the Monet exhibits at the Denver Museum, it's discounted for students. I don't know how much it is exactly, but you should try to see it because seeing those paintings up close are amazing, even if you're not someone that normally goes to a museum. Okay, so I tested out my colors. After these are fired next week, we'll add more layers to them. So that's your first tile. And of course, you can make more than one. Your second tile is going to be done with slip trailing. Okay, so slip trailing is like the slip that we used in the sense that you put it in either a pastry bag or some kind of thing to squeeze it out of, but we're not using slip. So slip is really thick, and it can only go in greenware. The underglazes are in these little applicator bottles. They're either the tall bottle or one of these. When you open them, this is black, by the way, it just looks gray. All the other ones are pretty true to color. When you open them, you have to unsqueeze the top, and there's a needle in it. Okay, that is to keep the top part, the tip part, clean. If it gets clogged, you can sometimes unclog it with the beading needle. But if you can't get the cap on, give it to me. Don't just shove it in there, because otherwise we have to throw these away. Okay? I'm going to do this on my tray, but you can do this on a paper towel if you want. And so, or I'm going to do it right on the table actually. Do it on a paper towel, or you can do it on the table, just wipe it up. And test it out and see how it works. So, it's a much thinner line, and it also is not as raised of a surface. So again, with that tile, you want to smooth the edges, your name and class shape, and you guys can make actual ornaments or things that you would keep. Remember, these don't have to just be throwaways. So you can put color on it first and then decorate it. You can put holes in it. And she didn't, but you can also decorate the back. So if she wanted to, she could have underglazed the back, because underglaze does not melt, so it can go on the top and the bottom. And these would be really good gifts for people. So she put green on it, let it dry a little bit by the fan, and then use the squeeze bottles to do the decoration. This one's really cute too. So if you know someone, like this person did for the Navy, you could do that as well. Okay, so then you can, like I said, put color on it first, let it dry a little bit, and then you guys can just play around and see what design. So this one doesn't necessarily relate to our assignment, except for like, they did that on here. But this one is just to practice using underglazes in a new way. Okay? So those are the two tiles you're required to do, but of course you can make more. And like I said, if you can't get the little lid in, ask me for help. So I don't have a ton of these. You'll have to share these slip trail bottles, and they're normally on the shelf next to the newsprint if you need them again. So one last thing. Underglazes come in different forms. So I have stamp pads that I'll talk about another day. So you can literally use our stamps and stamp a color on there. And of course the underglaze pencil that we've been talking about all year, they don't burn out in the kiln. So there are other ways of decorating them. And then these were the examples: pumpkin, pear, and they put a hole in it. If you're going to put a hole in it, use the fat part of the needle tool and go through both sides and smooth it so that when the clay shrinks, it won't shrink closed. So those are the ones that were done for practicing your colors for your object, your real object, and then these were just for fun. Okay, questions about this? When you're done, you must upload them to Google Classroom, and when you put them on the shelf, put them towards the back.